Team JQ. Welcome back to Bayou Buzz, where we talk about Northshore real estate the same way we talk about weather down here. Calmly, honestly, and just enough side eye to stay sane. This past week feels a lot like the moment when the tide shifts. Same shoreline, same neighborhoods, but if you're paying attention, the water's moving just a little differently depending on where you're standing. Across Slidell, Mandeville, Covington, Madisonville, and Ponchatoula, the last 7 days, January 25th through February 1st, didn't exactly scream housing boom or housing meltdown. And honestly, that's a good thing. What it did show is something more useful. The market is sorting itself out. Buyers are still buying, sellers are still selling. The homes that move quickly, they're getting very specific about why. If we zoom out across the 5 cities, the typical closed sale is landing in a pretty workable window. Median days on market came in right about 50 days in the most recent weeks. Basically, neck and neck with a prior 8 to 14 day window. So, no, the market didn't slam on the brakes, but here's where it gets interesting. The sale to list price ratio actually tightened up, and the median list to sold climbed to about 99, and it was up from 98.6% in the prior window. Translation: buyers are negotiating less on the homes they actually decide to buy. They're still cautious, but when they commit, they're not beating sellers up like they used to. At the same time, we saw something sellers really need to pay attention to: the more expirations in the most recent 0 to 7 days. That means the sky is not falling. It usually means a handful of sellers are pricing it like it's last year, while the buyers are shopping like it's this year. Now let's talk about the real heartbeat of the market. Price range that just keep moving, or the price range that just keeps moving. And I'm talking about the 200 to 300K bracket. It's still the North Shore speedboat. It's loud, it's fast, it keeps passing everybody else. And in both time windows, this price band posted a sub 45 day median day on market in key places like Covington and Mandeville. And the most recent week, it stayed fast in Slidell too. That's not luck, that's a pattern. And here's why that price range keeps winning. It sits right at the intersection of first-time home buyers who can stretch a little, move-up buyers who want a payment that still lets them sleep at night, and investors who can make the numbers work without holding their breath and shaking that magic 8 ball and saying, will it cash flow? Even cautious buyers will move fast when the monthly payment feels survivable and the house doesn't come with a horror story in renovation. If you want to talk more about renovation, hit me up in the comments. Buyer behavior in this band is pretty consistent. They're not trying to win negotiations, they're trying to win the house. They tour, compare it to the last 3 they just saw, and if it feels like the cleanest deal in the lineup, they don't mess around. That urgency is exactly why sellers in this price bracket can often stay firm on price if they show up prepared. Now, that demand isn't perfectly even everywhere. In Ponchatoula, the 200 to 300K range didn't show that same under 45 day speed in either window. That tells us buyers there are a little more selective right now. Could be condition, could be pricing, could be just that the homes are in that bracket are a different animal. More land, older homes, wider spread in quality, Slidell gave us the biggest mood swing this week. In the prior 18 to 14 day window, median days on market sat at the mid 40s. In the most recent week, that jumped up to the upper 70s. It sounds scary until you look at the pricing. Slidell's median sale to list ratio tightened up to basically 100%. So if you put your house on the market for $210K, it's sold for $210K. That's literally what it's saying. That's what the data's telling me. That combo usually means homes that did close held their value, like I just said. But the closings included some tougher listings, older inventory, longer negotiations. If you're selling a Slidell, pricing and presentation aren't nice to haves right now. They're the whole kit and caboodle, the whole game. Covington actually looked steadier. Median days on market dropped into the mid 30s, down from the high 40s in the prior window. That's real acceleration. At the same time, sale to list softened a touch. That's Covington balance. Buyers are moving, but they're not reckless. Their pricing wins, overconfidence does not. Mandeville showed a split personality. Closed sales slowed, median days on market moved to the low 50s. And the median sales to list slipped into the high 97 range, meaning buyers found some room to negotiate. Pending activity, way faster. Pending days on market dropped sharply. That usually means better listings are hitting the market now and buyers are responding. Mandeville isn't slow, it's picky. Madisonville quietly had one of the cleanest shifts. Days on market dropped into the high 30s, down from a much slower prior window. And median sales to list price snapped up right up to 100%. That's a quality-driven market, doing what it does best. When the right house shows up, it sells clean. Smaller market, yes, but decisive buyers. Think about that. Smaller market for Madisonville, but the buyers that are there are very decisive. So think about that when you're getting ready to sell. Now let's zoom out nationally for a second, because it still matters. Across the country, the story heading into early 2026 is a slow thaw, not a flood. Mortgage rates have eased into the low sixes, with the average 30-year fixed sitting around 6.1 at the end of January. That helps, but it hasn't been the magic fix for affordability. Existing home sales did bump up in December of 2025, but the recovery is cautious. Nationally, median days on market are around 63. Average sales to list about 97%. And the months of supply sits near 5.5. Pretty balanced. Compared to that, to the North Shore, we're actually moving faster and holding price better, especially in the strong mid-range brackets. We're not immune to national gravity, but we are definitely more locally driven. What's the real takeaway? If you're selling in the 200 to 300K range, you got leverage, but only if you respect the buyer. Clean, well-priced, no mystery repairs, and you're okay. If you're north of 300K, your house absolutely can sell. But clarity is king. Condition, updates, and a price that makes sense immediately, not a price drop 20 days later. If you're buying, the good deals aren't gone. They're just more specific. Competitive where value is obvious, negotiable where listings have been sitting, or sellers are adjusting expectations. And if you're investing, the opportunity is in mispositioned listings, good bones, mediocre presentation, or pricing that needs a reality check. My Bayou Buzz takeaway for the week. The market isn't panicking. It's getting honest. Homes priced and prepared correctly are still moving, holding value. Homes that miss the market are the ones timing out, i.e. expiring. Over the next week or two, I'll be watching whether the 200 to 300K speed lane keeps humming, and as the spring inventory starts showing up, and whether rising expirations push more sellers into smarter pricing. If that happens, buyers get better choices, and sellers who did the right thing from day one may quietly win and sell their home. Around here, we don't fight the current. We read it, we adjust the boat, and we keep moving. That's Bayou Buzz. This is JQ. I'm out. Thank you.